Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very special video for you. It's a video that's very dear to my heart and I hope you guys enjoy. Today I'm going to be showing you how I cover up my acne and my scarring. So basically just my full coverage makeup routine. So for those of you who don't know, I've had acne for around 15 years maybe. I think more than 15 years. So throughout the years I kind of learned what to do and what not to do in terms of me covering up my scars. If you just started having acne, try changing up your diet, try working out, and try not stressing because stress can cause that too. A couple of years ago I started to get anxiety attacks, which if you guys are not familiar with them, you stop breathing and you feel like you're gonna die. And then this year I started getting them very constantly. So this past month is just a very hard time for me. I had posted a picture on my Instagram saying that I was excited to start posting a lot of content in the month of November. Unfortunately, all of that happened and I wanted to film on the weekends, but those were the days where I just wanted to be in bed and not know anything. So that kind of took a toll on my health, on the way I was eating, and I stopped taking care of myself. So my skin has been paying for it very badly, and you'll see in a minute, but that's one of the main reasons why I'm breaking out so much at the moment. The good thing is that a lot of people have acne and it's just temporary. It might be because you're a teenager, it might be because you're eating too much dairy and you should stop eating so much dairy, or it might be stress, it might be your hormones. So you definitely want to get that checked out by a doctor. But basically what I wanted to say is that you should never let a pimple control your life. I know it sounds silly, but you would be surprised knowing how much I let my acne affect me. In high school I used to have some friends who would just be rude about it and constantly remind me of it when it's something that I had to see every single day of my life. I looked at myself in the mirror and I could see it. So if you have people who are constantly bringing that up or constantly picking on you for it, you don't need those type of people in your life. So I think that my skin changed a lot this year, well this past year and a half I think, also from removing myself from toxic people and toxic environments and just cutting people off. You need people who will uplift you and make you see your potential and bring out the best in you. People who will constantly remind you how great you are and how great you're doing in life. If there are people in your life who you feel are always bringing you down and are always picking on you, just cut them off and you will be so much better without them. This video is in no way me saying that you need makeup, but it's definitely a way for you to feel a little bit more confident and just to be able to, I don't know, see yourself with flawless skin, I guess. Anyway, I'm just rambling at this point. So if you want to see how I went from this to this, then just keep watching. To start off, I'm going to go in with the Dr. Brandt Pores No More Pore Refiner Primer. Don't mind my nails. I did them like on Monday. Today's Saturday, so they didn't really last that long. But yeah, I'm gonna go in with the primer. So what this does is it mattifies the skin and then it also just fills in my pores and helps a lot with my texture because I do have a lot of texture. So this really helps with that. Now to cover up my blemishes, I usually go in with the Cover FX Click Stick right here, but I have the Cover FX Contour, but I've never tried the, I think this is G10, I'm not sure. I wear a G20 with my Click Stick, so this is like a shade or two lighter. And it's gonna look very light on my skin, but it'll cover it up. And then we're gonna go on top of it with foundation. I feel like I always say that, but it's the truth. I grab some with my finger, with my ring finger, and then I'll go right on top of the places where I have the most visible scars. And as you can see, I have a lot. So this is basically my entire face. I don't usually put that much, but just as an example, I guess. And while that kind of sets, I know I look really crazy, but we'll be fine. You'll be fine. While that sets, I'm gonna go in with my Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector, and I've talked about this a million times. Just covers up my under eyes really, really well. For foundation, I'm going in with the Urban Decay All Nighter Waterproof Longwear Foundation right here. This is pretty long wearing, and it's also very matte and very, very full coverage. So it has everything I specifically need for my skin. So in order to get a foundation that is going to work well with you, you have to know what type of skin you have. So I have oily skin, so this one works great for oily skin. If you have dry skin, go for more either a luminous foundation or a like natural velvet finish. And you want to work with this foundation fairly quickly just because it does dry. If you have a lot of blemishes, or if your scars are still peeking through, or any discoloration is still peeking through, you can go in with a little bit more of the leftover foundation. I'm gonna press it wherever I feel like I can still see color peeking through, so that would be my cheeks right here. So your skin should be looking something like this. So now for concealer, I'm gonna go in with my favorite concealer, and this is the Tarte Shape Tape right here. This is super full coverage, and it's pretty mattifying as well. This you don't need a lot. I actually remove most of the product, and then I'll go one eye at a time. So just in like a triangle shape right there. And you want to tap very, very lightly, because the more pressure you put on your sponge, the more product it will take away. So you just want to do it very, very lightly so that the full coverage stays there. Now I'm going to add this to the high points of my face, so any areas that I want to stand out, and that would be my forehead, because my forehead is very small. If you have a big forehead, you probably don't need that. And then my chin is pretty small as well, so I want it to pop a little. And then I'm going to do a little bit of the nose contour, so we're going to go here and at the tip and right above the lip. And I know this is like a lot of product, and there's still a lot more makeup coming, but this is a full coverage routine, so it definitely is a lot of makeup. If you have a lot of breakouts like around your contour area or on your cheeks, if you have any bumps or scarring, I recommend you cream contour. Now for cream contour, I have my Cover FX contour kit right here, and this is in the shade light medium. If you don't know Cover FX has great ingredients in their products, so these will never break you out. They'll never cause any sort of reaction on your skin. And so far, I've been loving the contour kit right here. I'm gonna take the darkest shade, which is this one right here. This is the number 4, and that is, I think, G50, or is it G70? Yeah, this is G70. I'm just gonna take my sponge right here, and I'm gonna grab some of that product, and I'm gonna start to contour. So just start like right here at the top of the ear, and just slowly work your way here. And then you can do your forehead if you would like. I just add a little bit, and then I do my jaw. I'm gonna use my MAC 159 brush. I'm just grabbing a tiny bit of product. Most of it I like to apply it right here, just to shorten my nose. And there you go. Very subtle bronze. Now we're gonna set the entire face so that our work doesn't move around. And I'm gonna be opening up my backup. This is the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. This is gonna make your face just look so airbrushed and kind of like photoshopped. And I'm actually gonna go back in with the sponge. What I'm doing here is I'm kind of baking a little bit. If you have oily skin, you want to bake all the areas where you get very, very oily. So for me, that's around my nose right here. Definitely my forehead. my chin. If you have like smile lines around your mouth, you just bake a little bit there. I don't think I have smile lines, but just to show you, just bake a little bit there, and that will basically make them non-existent. So now with the leftover powder, I'm just gonna grab it with my sponge and just place that all over my face. So even on top of the contour. This powder is translucent, so it's not gonna cover my contour up. It's still gonna show through. And as you can see, it just gave my face such a flawless airbrush look. So now I'm gonna take a big fluffy brush and I'm gonna try to like remove all the product from the face. And I'm gonna leave the under eye area baking and the forehead as well. You can totally remove that right away if you're not as oily as I am, but if you're oily, the longer you keep your baking, the better. So since the shade I use is pretty bronzy and warm, I'm gonna use a cooler contour, and this is Subconscious by Kat Von D. And I'm gonna apply that to the bottom of the cheekbones to really carve them out. When you do this, you have to be very, very careful, so just go very, very slowly and take your time with it, because again, you don't wanna move around the product and have your scars or your imperfections just show. Since I put my blush right here, and this area is where I have the most visible pores, if I go in with something shimmery or with glitter, that's gonna emphasize my pores a lot more. So I'm gonna go in with a matte blush, or actually I think this is more of like a satin blush, but you can definitely see the difference right here. So this has a sheen and shimmers on it, and this one is more matte. So in my case, I'm gonna use this one right here. I definitely use these types of blushes as well. It's all personal preference, but if you want to really hide your imperfections, then you would go with the matte blush. So I'm gonna go ahead and go in with that one right there, and I'm just using that same Real Techniques. By the way, this is Amaretto from the Becca Jaclyn Hill palette. I always forget to brush off my baking powder. So that's the blush, and you can definitely leave it like this if you're into a completely matte look. Me, this is very, very pretty, just leaving it all matte like this. But if you want to add highlight, I'm going to show you how I like to add my highlight so that my imperfections don't pop up as much. So for the highlight, I have my favorite highlight. This is the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector pressed in the shade Opal right here. This is broken, like it fell and it just shattered into pieces, and it's very sad, but it still works. Becca Opal is very dark on my skin for me to use as a highlight, so I basically use it kind of like a blush topper. So what I like to do is I like to grab just a little bit. You want to place your highlight or your blush topper or whatever shimmer on the high points of your face, so wherever the light will hit. But the thing is, if you have texture on your skin, or if you have problematic skin, if you place shimmer on top of any like little sit or whatever, it's gonna pop through and it's gonna show a lot more. So what I like to do is I like to place it where I know that I have no problems. So to me, it's this area, which is pretty much where you highlight anyways, but I know that a lot of people like to bring their highlight all the way into like the apples of the cheeks. I personally can't do that. If you can do that, then by all means go ahead and do it. But I know that I have a lot of texture there, so I just try to stay right here. So right like on top of the blush and even a little bit above it. Just the cheeks, that's the only place where I place Opal. So now another favorite of mine, this is the Mary Luminizer by The Balm. This is a very like vanilla-y highlight, which is why I like it. This one also broke. I mean, it's sad, but they still work, so I'm gonna take some of that highlight onto the same brush. And what I do with this is I only place it on the very, very high points of my cheekbones. So just right here, right there. I don't take this further down like I did with the other one. And now I'm gonna blend that in. And you can see how pretty that is. And then I'm gonna grab some more and I'm gonna put that on the top of the eyebrows. Again, if you have textured there, I wouldn't recommend you do it. I like to add just a little bit on the cupid's bow, and whatever is left over, I bring it to the chin. Just a little bit. I like to do my nose highlight with my finger, so I'll grab some on my ring finger. This is an ugly nail, so don't pay attention to it. Just on the tip right here, and then a line right here. And then just to blend the tip, I go like to the sides. That's it. So now that pretty much we're all done, you want to seal everything. So if you don't seal all your makeup together, it's gonna look a little bit powdered. I mean, to me this looks pretty great, but if you seal it with some setting spray, it's gonna look a million times better. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the Urban Decay B6 Vitamin Infused Complexion Prep Spray. So I guess this is kind of like a primer, but I use it as a setting as well, and it works perfectly fine. I usually would use my Urban Decay D-Slick right here, and this is for oily skin, and it works pretty great, but I just wanted to try something new. I actually love the spray of this, the way it spreads. It's just so fine. And then we're gonna let that dry. So while that dries, I'm gonna finish up my lips and I'll be right back. Okay guys, so this is the finished look, and this is the skin. So let me know your thoughts on this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you on my next one. Did I do that? That was weird. I'll see you on my next one. I have stuff in my lip. If you liked it, give the if you liked it, give ay Dios.